Okay. Hello. This is OmniGamer. I'm just going to give a quick rundown of some of the new Skyblazer tech I've been working on and looking for. These are all movies that I've already made, so I'm just going to let it go through, and I'll kind of explain some of the differences as we go. So, start mostly the same, but the extra idea here is that we're going to get magic later, so we're going to use a couple extra comets here. I really didn't like tossing in the comets low, but there wasn't really a good opportunity for them. So right there, new magic drop. I'm going to run through it again so you know, again, and right here too, another magic drop. These are not perfect. You have to time those correctly. So we'll just watch that again, and I'll focus in on those specifically. Each one of those has a 3-frame window, and they kind of have visual cues, but they're still going to be inconsistent. But 3 frames is better than 1 frame. Anyways, so right here, right at the start, you can see right in the open, as soon as we're actually able to move, there's a point where you start to align with the pillar right around there, and that's where you want to fire. So you can get ready. As soon as you have your crescent, I believe this is among the first frames that'll do it, and this will get you that magic drop. Okay, part 1, we're still down on magic though. So over this third line, what we're going to look for is kind of right between these two big windows. Like before you hit the ground, there's going to be another 3 frames that you can perfectly set this up. So right here I believe I selected the middle frame, and I'm going to launch this out, and you'll get the extra drop there. Okay, cool. That's some new tech, saves a small handful of seconds, like 3 seconds. However, we've got plenty more to look at. So let's go over to a new Boss Strat. And this new Boss Strat is only possible with a complete reroute, which we'll talk a little bit about next. But just watch this for a moment. Yeah, he gets done through pretty quick. So, just to go over it one more time. Start out, note that I do not hit him right away. And the reason for this is that his movement pattern changes depending on what frame he's actually able to first make that selection. And if I hit him early, the patterns are pretty bad. They usually end up with him going either across or straight down, or all sorts of ways that make it difficult to keep getting consecutive hits on him. So instead, I skip it over. And also important, we've got the warrior force already, which means that we've done Cheryl already, which we'll cover in a moment. But that means start it up right away. You want to try and make it so that you hit him on the way over, and then before you land, hit him once more so that he's still in stun. There was a punch that I did right there. That's just to get an extra 2 damage and stun him a little bit further. And then you jump up once more, get another hit. And he was actually dead before I walked off with the extra hit, but that would have finished him off either way. And you get as close to the center as possible. It's still not perfect. I think it's like another 10, 15 frames lost when you actually move at the end, but it's still pretty darn good. It's about 60 to 80 frames saved, up to 100 if you're doing it absolutely perfect. So let's talk about Cheryl. Cheryl has always been a big pain in the butt, just because you go through and you need to get magic, and there's no way to manipulate it as far as we know. So instead I went through and tried to find a spot where you could try to set yourself up and then just shoot for getting frame perfect hits at different parts. So each one of these enemy groups, I'm going to try and come up with something so that you have a visual cue and a position that you can try to guarantee a drop from. So all of these will get some drop. right here, rise up. That's a little tricky because if you hit those spikes, you probably are going to die. So with these ones, you can look in the background and try to line up with the windows. Watch through the video again to see exactly what those cues are. But for the most part, if you're going for any of these, like, you've already kind of lost. You've already missed up your best opportunities. And the thing that I want to talk about more is actually, I have a different movie. Somewhere. Here we go. Where I'm just going to go through this first enemy encounter, because this is another instance where I have 3 frames to get this right. So immediately go over, and as soon as you get hit, stop holding forward. And then there's a 3-frame window where you can fire out, hit all the bats at once, and then one of them will drop a magic drop. Let's watch that again, and I'll slow it down. So normal opening. Right here. So I'm holding right the entire time that I'm down in this corner. And then I'm waiting for when the bat hits me. So it's going to knock me back. At this point, I let go. So I'm no longer holding right, but I'm still carrying momentum, and it'll push me over into just the right spot on the ledge while I still have invulnerability. And right here, you're waiting for the bats to kind of all align. So I don't have a good visual cue here yet. But you can kind of use this as a point of reference. The bats kind of all converge, and then you, judging from that, you decide when to fire a punch. And again, I use the middle frame here. Use that to get all 3. So try to set yourself up with some visual cue, whatever works out. That's probably your best bet, because with the new stage ordering, that is the only way that you can make this work. Like, you need a drop in this stage now, whereas before you didn't need it, but it was a nice benefit. So the difference here is if you get this magic, then you can go into Cheryl. You go through Cheryl like normal. You come back, go up through the Passage of Wind, and then through Fortress of Kalar, and go through it that way. You get to save all the time because you'll be full magic when you go into the block stage, and then when you're into the wind stage, you just go through it as normal, but you have the ability to do that faster boss strat. So among all that, like, probably a net gain of about 2, maybe 3 seconds. It's rough, but at this point, that's kind of what we need. We're not done yet. We got one more thing. Let's talk about the Crusher. And this is something we've known for a while, but difficult to pull off. So normal opening, that's fine. Watch from here. So we have another ceiling crawl after you pick this up. And the problem is I don't have a way to time that cue up, because it's a very precise timing to be able to get up there and not die. And then you can use that magic to go through these cannonball stages and reduce a whole bunch of lag. So that one goes up there, and this one you can fall right in. And if you get that, that's pretty big, like 3 or 4 seconds worth. But again, it's tremendously difficult to reliably set up the second ceiling crawl. And right there, I do the jump, and that's what sets me up for a good timing here. But on this side, you'll be kind of inconsistent coming out of this area, so you can't exactly know when you're going to grab here and what kind of timing you need to actually proceed up. So in this video, at least, I set up myself so that I'm waiting on the edge, and I'm kind of using this as a visual cue for when it passes the ending in the background. But the thing is that there's still like frame perfect pieces to this. Even if you try to just line it up with that, there's not consecutive frames, I believe, that will keep you alive in this circumstance. So you'll die if you go too soon, die if you go too late. Yeah, it's just not a good way to be. But so long as you make it up there, it's an issue when you get all the way over here, because when you die is not necessarily when you're crawling in, it's when you're crawling out. There's some special interaction between when you can start falling and when the crusher starts rising that keeps you alive. So good luck. Good luck. And we'll need to find that if we really want to adjust this. The other opportunity is this guy right here, which I haven't looked into quite yet. But if you have a consistent way to get through with Comet against this guy, he has a couple good frames to drop a big magic. If you could get that, then you can skip that other one, not have to do the ceiling climb. But I don't have a good, consistent way to set that up yet. So maybe in the future. But there you go. Some new Skyblazer stuff. Hope you enjoy.